In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 habits that might look like personal growth and healing, but are actually not. Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of my YouTube channel. I am so excited to be here once again with you. I know that it's been a while since I made my last video, but I am hoping to come back to YouTube, and I'm excited to have your support and your comments and your feedback and anything that you can provide so that I can continue to teach and also grow and learn with you in this space. Today's video, it's about why isn't it working? For those people who feel like they're doing everything, you're journaling, you're praying, you're going to the workshops, and you're doing all the things, but you still haven't experienced true healing. You're still struggling. It feels like nothing is really changing for you. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of that because there are some things that you could be doing wrong, or you might be confusing with healing when it's not really healing. And we're going to get to it. Number one, constantly seeking clarity. I'm going to be very honest with you. Clarity without action becomes another form of paralysis. It doesn't matter how much you know and how aware you've become if you're not actually doing the work, if you're not taking action. I always tell my clients healing doesn't come from just knowing, it doesn't come from just figuring things out. It comes from actually changing your habits and doing something with the information that is now available to you. You have to choose differently. You have to behave differently. You have to create a different action plan, change your system, approach things in a different way. That is when clarity, it's really going to help you change. So I always say, whatever you know, it's just information to get you to move and to get you to change things in your life. So if you know what needs to change, if you know what happened to you, if why you did certain things, now it's time to take action. Number two, journaling without integration. You pour your heart out into your journal, you write everything down, you're getting really honest about yourself, about the things that you've experienced, about your journey, but then you do nothing. So you're basically just recycling the pain. Emotional dumping is not emotional growth. Healing is when insight leads to growth. So, what are the things that you're writing about? Are you giving yourself time to go back and reread those entries and realize new things about yourself and try to implement them in your life? I think the beautiful thing about Journey isn't only that it allows you to declutter your mind and put things in writing, but also that it gives you a lot of information. Again, the word information keeps coming up. It's a big part of, my practice, because I do believe that whenever you hear things, whenever you write things down, whenever you have certain experiences, there is a lot of information there for you to make changes or to get clarity and then create an action plan. So your journal might actually have all the answers that you've been seeking regarding what it is that you need to change, or where is it that you're at and where you might be holding yourself back. So don't just write, reread, and figure out the treasure that is in those pages. Number three, emotional awareness without relational accountability. So you know your triggers, you know your attachment style, you know what you're doing wrong, but you're not doing anything about it because you're still lashing out, you're still being codependent, you're still arguing, you're still, doing all the things that you're not supposed to be doing anymore with the information that you have. Self awareness means nothing if it doesn't help you show up differently. I think it's really sad when people say, like, that's my trauma talking, oh yeah, that's my attachment style, and they kind of use that as a way to justify their actions. No, when you do that, then you're choosing to hurt people and you're choosing the quality of your life. But if instead you use that to change things and to hold yourself accountable and say the things that you're doing wrong and be honest about the things that need to change and take accountability for the ways in which you're not showing up the right way for your friends or your families or in your relationship, then that's when change truly will come. I know some people are afraid because it takes so much vulnerability to tell someone, like, this is my issue and this is how it might show up in our relationship. But there's also so much maturity, and the way that somebody might receive you for being honest, it's incomparable. People nowadays want to build their lives with other people who are honest, who are self-aware. And when you are able to hold yourself accountable and be honest about your shortcomings and the way that you're not rightfully showing up, then you'll find people who get you and who are going to be empathetic, who are going to hold you accountable and are going to help you in this journey. But it really takes you becoming aware and showing up in a way that shows that you want to change. Number four, reading 100 books, but changing zero habits. I actually started a book club this year in my community. And one of the things that I always say, like, it's not about how many books we're going to read this year, it's about how many things we're going to start implementing. And I feel like this is a thing, like, it's a trend now for people to constantly read because it makes them look like they're on this journey of growing and learning and all these wonderful things. But it doesn't mean much when your life is still the same and when you're still behaving the same way. Books can be sacred, and they actually are, but they're not a substitute for the behavior that needs to change. So if you're an asshole, if you're rude, if you're not kind, if you're not generous, if you're not caring, then it doesn't matter how many books you read, your life is going to look a certain way. And essentially, you're going to make people feel a certain way because you're reading, but you're not doing the work. One thing that I've noticed is that some people use learning as a distraction from doing. We're learning here that in order to heal, you need to do. Number 5, waiting to feel ready. You're waiting for the perfect moment. You're waiting for the stars to align. You're waiting for the signals. You're waiting for the perfect day. But honestly, healing does not happen when everything feels aligned. It happens when you move through discomfort. One thing I find is that readiness it's like a fantasy, and it really gives us time to stay in our comfort zone. But if you want to see change, you're going to have to step out of that. Courage, it's always what's going to move you. And the other day, I actually shared this with one of my clients. I said, you don't leave a bad habit because you're over it. You do so even while wanting to still continue in this routine because it's what's familiar to you. It's the same with addiction, right? People that are struggling with addiction as a coping mechanism, they're not like, okay, I'm going to stop doing this drug when I'm not craving it anymore. If you wait until you no longer crave it, then it might never happen. You have to leave the drug. You have to make the decision despite wanting it because you know that your life needs to change, or you know that you deserve better. And the same applies for everything in your life: relationships, habits, everything. Number 6, explaining your pattern instead of doing something about it. I can't even tell you how many times I've sat with someone who seems to be very self-aware, and I get this whole list of everything that they know that they're doing wrong and all the things that they know could be better. But again, you're not doing anything about it. You can trace your whole life like a map. You can say, this comes from my dad, this comes from my mom, I got this from this relationship. But what are you doing with that? Naming your pain is absolutely powerful, but staying there becomes another story that you tell yourself to avoid having to do the actual work. Insight is the beginning, but responsibility, it's the breakthrough. And number 7, avoiding conflict and calling it peace. You keep the peace by staying quiet, by agreeing, by holding it all in. And I get it, you don't want to upset anyone. But I'm going to be real with you. That's not peace. That is actually self-abandonment. If there's something I wish I could tell my younger self, it's like, set boundaries with people, even if it shake things up, because it's a way to respect yourself, to show people how to treat you, and ultimately to honor your growth, because what might have been okay for you back then isn't okay with you now, and that deserves to be honored. So respectfully speak up, respectfully, set those boundaries, respectfully call people out, because avoiding conflict might just be the reason why you're still stuck in this situation now. I say this with love. I know it's really hard once you start on this journey. It's so hard to see the dark parts of yourself. It's hard to know even when to start. But I just want to help you guys and hold your hand through this journey and remind you that sometimes we can be stuck in habits that feel like healing, but actually are just protecting us from the death of our needs. It's a beautiful thing that how much we'll do to avoid the pain, to avoid the discomfort, and to stay in our familiar grounds. I think it's something worth admiring, but at the same time, it doesn't serve us. So we need to learn that we can stay there if we want to experience change and if we want to be in a better place in our life. And the best part is that you do not have to do it alone. We have a beautiful community. It's called the Healing Room, where each month we work on different topics that are meant to help us grow and become self-aware. And it's a beautiful space where we meet once a week. We have formal classes, and then we have other classes that are informal where we just kind of talk and vent. And it's become a really sacred space for people to feel supported and to get like real life advice and tools to get through the difficulties that we all experience on a daily basis. Because no matter how much work you do, one thing you should know is that there's always going to be something that you could or should be doing better. All the information for the Healing Room, as well as all of my other services, will be listed down below. I want to thank you for your time, for watching me today. If this video resonated with you, if it helped you in any way, please comment, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Bye.